What is happening in between Iran and Israel? That's what we're going to discuss today. I'm right now here in Jordan, actually the country that is in between Israel and Iraq and then Iran, obviously. So basically all the missiles that are currently flying are flying over us, over Syria, which is on the top right of us, over our heads into Israel. And we obviously saw them. We're going to cut in some B-roll of some of the recordings from my phone so you can see it. I'm currently here in Jordan for a business trip and I got stuck. Obviously, my flight got cancelled and then they rebooked me for tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Also got cancelled. Now I was very lucky. I got a flight tomorrow with Royal Jordanian, which is the airline from Jordan actually, and they are gonna fly tomorrow 4 p.m. to Dubai, so I'm getting out here. But so far everything here is safe. It's amazing to see how the Jordanian Royal Air Force actually is dealing with all of the incoming missiles since they are intercepting all of them. We are in the shooting training here in Jordan, clay shooting, which I love, one of my hobbies. There was jets flying over us, intercepting. We just came out of a restaurant 10 minutes ago before I got here into the office, and excuse me for the setup, but I'm here in the office of one of my top leaders and a good friend, Mamoun, who is taking very, very good care of me here in Jordan, and we had an amazing time. And obviously this is crazy, so that's why I'm doing this video. I report a lot and speak a lot about economics and wars and countries, right? And that's exactly what's happening here right now. So I'm obviously very lucky to be in Jordan, which is neutral ground so far. There were no strikes, there were no hittings, there was no problems so far, right? Besides constant sirens turning on when there's any attacks either from Iran or for Israel. I will speak about especially what happened the last days that I was here. Why is Iran basically firing back on Israel? Who started all of this? And where is this probably going to go? Yesterday, we spent a lot of time yesterday night to discuss where this is all going. Is it still safe to be in Jordan? And obviously the conclusion is that I want to get out as soon as possible. I would have no problem to stay here and wait for my Emirates flights that is scheduled in 1 week and 2 days. I got the cancellation this morning, but I rather get out of here because I have business to attend somewhere else. But it's truly crazy and also fascinating, saying that with a lot of respect, obviously, because it's war and that's something ugly. But it's crazy to see all of this. We just walked out of the restaurant 10 minutes before I got here and I started to record this video, and over our head there was a missile intercepted by Jordanian forces, and you just see the explosion over your head. Basically, it was high enough so it didn't affect us in that sense, but still crazy to see, right? Let's speak a little about what happened. June 13th, Israel started its Rising Lion operation, which is a deep strike, especially focused on the scientists and killing scientists on the nuclear facility, because Iran obviously started to come out and say that they have certain nuclear power now, and obviously Israel wants to intercept with that because they are so far the only ones in the space at the end of the day that have nuclear power, and they want to be the monopoly, right? At the same time, obviously no one wants to have Iran in power in terms of any nuclear weapons, right? So no one is really interested in that. That's why this whole conflict is pretty crazy to see now, because before Israel was attacking obviously Gaza or like Palestine, and now they're attacking Iran, and Iran is attacking Israel, and most countries are backing Israel right now because no one wants Iran to have the superpower, right? Especially not the Gulf countries, especially not the countries around it. But yeah, crazy conflict. So then let's go on. June 13th to 14th at night. So that's where it started. Basically, my flight was on the 14th. That's why it got cancelled. Iran launched its operation called True Promise 3, which is 150 missiles and 100 plus drones. Casualties on both sides. They launched it, and most of them flew over Jordanian airspace, which in the early mornings and during the whole day got intercepted, right? And that was crazy to see because we are here in Jordan and basically everything is flying over our heads. But in the first launch of the operation True Promise 3, they launched a lot over the Jordanian airspace, but the Jordanian airspace intercepted everything. So they started to launch more over Syria and also from Yemen, right? But yeah, still a lot of stuff is flying over us, so that's crazy. Then June 14th to 15th, Israel strikes back with Rising Lion Phase 2. A wider strike, heavy civilization toll in Iran, so basically attacking the civilians, which is crazy. But again, this is here not for me to pick sides. And then on June 14th, 15th, today is the 15th, Iran launches True Promise 3. Continuation, ongoing missile drone. They hit Bat Yam and oil refineries in Israel also. Israel did that over there. So it's kind of crazy to see. Now, what definitely changed in the last couple of days is that you now see that Iran is launching more supersonic missiles. So for what I understand, they go into the outer atmosphere, or basically obviously high sky, let's say it like that. obviously not a professional on that, and then they impact very fastly, and you're gonna see that in the video. I'm gonna put it in for you to see, and then they strike very heavy and very fast, and there's no defense mechanism for that. So the Iron Dome, which is the famous Israeli defense system for missiles and drones, cannot handle that. So they're impacting heavy into Israel and basically into Tel Aviv mostly, right? It's truly crazy. So yesterday, and that's one thing I want to share with you guys, yesterday we were speaking about with my friends. They're Syrians, they're Palestinians, they know all of this. So just in general here, everything is pretty calm, right? Everyone just continues their normal life. There's sirens all the time. Basically, just before I started the video, there was sirens again, maybe in a couple of minutes again. Missiles flying over our heads, targeting Israel, right? For them, it's completely normal. No one cares at the end of the day. They just continue their normal life. They advise us to stay inside. No one stays inside. Again, Iranian are flying all of their missiles, or most of them, over Jordan airspace because it's the direct, so basically on the map, right? Jordan is, and Amman, especially the main city where I'm right now, is basically just in front of Israel, right? So basically, if you're sitting on a mountain or standing on a mountain, you can see Palestine, you can see Israel. So it's not really far, right? So that's for how it feels and how it is. Obviously, how it all started was in the morning of the 13th. I was just waking up and hearing sirens, looked out of the window, and okay, I knew this is going to happen because the night before there was the talks with Iran and obviously Israel willing to strike them. They closed the airspace, so I was already prepared for that. And just continued to sleep, and then just all over the day obviously was fixing issues with getting back to Dubai or getting out of here. Not especially because I want to get out. I really love Jordan, guys. Jordan is amazing food, amazing people, and I'm very, very well taken care of by my leaders. And that's the main point why I came here, is to visit my trading community and build with them, and that's what we're doing. We are focused, right? So this doesn't change anything, but it's I don't want to say it's an amazing experience, right? It's nothing that is nice or good, but it's truly a crazy experience. It is, right? Not in a good way, but it's crazy. So obviously want to share a little bit about that. Now, let's talk about the future, right? Why is Israel attacking Iran? Why is Iran attacking back? So basically, obviously the main point is that Iran is working on its nuclear power, and they confirmed from themselves, basically they said, or stated themselves and said that they have nuclear weapons now, and obviously Israel strike them first and then Iran strike back with, let's say, more cheap missiles, like not the good ones, right? So now they are turning into these hypersonic ones, which started yesterday basically, and you see that in the videos. They are way faster. Before that, Iran was just shooting all of their remaining old stock, and obviously most of these ones are very low. They fly very low or in the airspace, so at 4,000 feet, the drones, right? So they're intercepted, and you can see them very well in Jordanian airspace. That's why we constantly saw all of these fireballs, like in New Year's, basically flying over Jordan, right? Everyone on the street filming it. It's crazy. So at the end of the day, that's why Israel started, because they assume that there is, due to the statement of Iran, that they have nuclear weapons, which obviously no one wants. Then there's a lot of talks in between Israel and America. America said they didn't confirm that. Israel says, yes, they confirmed it. To be quite honest, if we look into it, and America is also not very interested in having Iran as a superpower, in the sense of them being able to send nuclear weapons all over the world and be another dominant, if they not already are, another dominant superpower, right? So what you guys need to understand about Iran, because most people think they are just like, I don't know, just like terrorists or whatever, but Iran especially is a very strong nationalistic country that uses the Islam as, or Islamization in that sense is their main religion. It's not like, for example, the Jordanian Arabs and then Islam, or Syrian or Lebanon or whatever. They are more radical in that sense, right? So they're not really terrorists in that sense. It's more like they're completely cut off the West. They're very efficient on running without any Western influence, right? So they are truly the only country that has really no control. They have their own central bank. They have their own monetary system. No one controls them. No one intercepts them. So they want to keep it like that, right? And obviously no one wants that. No one wants that. Even the neighboring countries, with our Arab countries, Islamic countries, they are favoring Israel right now because they don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, and they want Israel to strike them, because if not, Iran will continue to destabilize certain regions, like for example Syria, like for example Lebanon, and then with Hezbollah and so on, right? So that's what Iran does. Iran tries to control their neighbors as Israel tries to control their neighbors, and that's how the world works. Why people You know, people look at social media, at news, and they say, why these wars? Why should it? That makes no sense. The poor people, the poor people. But you guys need to understand, it's not about that. It's actually about controlling and influencing, proxying other countries to be more secure. Iran wants to secure itself, as Israel wants to secure itself, as America is playing its role in all the neighboring countries, right? So that's just how it goes. At the end of the day, it is what it is. As Nietzsche said, the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. That's a principle of the world that I truly believe in, and that's how it is, right? So at the end of the day, I truly believe, looking forward, that this is going to continue for the next couple of days or weeks, because Israel struck Iran heavily and killed a lot of its leadership, especially when it comes to the leadership of the nuclear program and even the nuclear site. Israel said they striked it. I don't know. Obviously, that's something we need to believe is what they stated themselves. There's no verification for that. And obviously, that is insane. Right now, Iran needs to strike back and show that they're strong. Now, I think this will escalate, because at the end of the day, Iran will start now to use more hypersonic missiles. Therefore hit Israel, or especially Tel Aviv, harder, because Tel Aviv has most of its defense sitting in the inner center of its own people, right? So therefore there's a lot of casualties, even though you kind of can see that Israel is more targeting, let's say, military leadership, but also forcing now and mocking Iran by targeting, let's say, at the end of the day, civilians, right? And there's civilian casualties on both sides, I understand that, but especially Israel, because of its condensed space and concentrated space and its facilities being focused and situated in between people, right? Which is kind of like a human shield in that sense, which again, it's obviously difficult with such a little space compared to Iran to have everything in order and everything perfectly set. So I'm not saying any side is doing anything against civilians. There will always be casualties, unfortunately, and that's what it is, right? But at the end of the day, we need to see where this goes, because I truly believe it's going to continue. Hopefully it's not going to end up in any nuclear weapons being used. One thing that I was thinking about, scenario, and obviously please comment below what you think the scenarios and your predictions for the future are going to be. But I think one thing Iran needs to do now is show a lot of strength for its people to confirm the government and stabilize the government, because they have a lot of opposition inside, same as Israel, obviously. But they need to show that they are strong. And if they have nuclear power, then either they are playing it smart now and not using it, so therefore no one else is attacking them. Because I think if they're going to use nuclear, even though they stated today they have it, other countries are going to get involved, and they will be very interested in Iran being destabilized, because if they have nuclear weapons, it's very bad. So Israel obviously is striking that and continuously stating themselves that they will continue until their mission is and operation is finished and done and completed, which is again striking the nuclear facilities and making Iran incapable of using nuclear power, weapons, anything, right? Even though they said they have it, right? Then obviously no one is interested in Iran having that. So there's a lot of support towards Israel. At the same time, Iran has a lot of powder, like a lot of gunpowder to shoot at Iran. At Israel, Iran has about 3,000, let's say, missiles, where Israel has about 300, right? That's like a comparison that I saw. If it's true or not kind of makes sense. So Iran is very powerful. They have a lot of strong military setups. They have a lot of gunpowder to shoot at Israel. So I hope again that there's no, I'd say not Israel or even Iran should use any nuclear power, but that's something that maybe is going to be used or is going to happen, and probably that would be the event that strikes World War III. Hopefully that's not going to happen, right? But at the end of the day, it looks very difficult, and I think it's going to continue very strongly. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be some hard times. Obviously, if you can get out of these places, then do it. And let's see where this goes, guys. But I just wanted to report live, give you some insights for you to understand a little bit better from a perspective of being in the country in between these wars, and speaking to the people here, being interested in doing research, seeing the missiles, seeing how it's handled. I can just congratulate the Jordan Royal Air Force, or Jordan in general, how they're handling it. The people, it's insane. Very professional, very calm, very secure. There's warnings all the time, right? So they're doing it very, very well. And Jordan proved themselves to be a very strong sovereign country, where they said, we're going to intercept everything that goes through our airspace. Doesn't matter if it's Israel or Iran. We are on neither side. Obviously, Israel is controlling Jordan for sure, right? We know that. So I think it's amazing to their people. But at the end of the day, again, here, I'm not here to call names to say one side is better than the other, or one deserves it and one not. I hate war and I'm against war. Doesn't matter who it is. And that's what we should all be. But that's just how it goes, and we need to be realistic about it. So that's a live report, guys. And at the end of the day, if you have families here, I pray for you. Inshallah, they're going to be safe, and on both sides, obviously. And see you in the next one.